I have titled this tape, You Need More Water. Of all the teaching tapes I have made, the following information about water I believe is the most significant and simple instructions that I can give you about health. Why is this so important? Lack of water or dehydration creates immediate cellular damage that upsets the chemical, mechanical operations of the body. This brings pain and disabling diseases that can take your life. I am emotionally motivated to stimulate you to take immediate action to change your water drinking habits forever and to live more abundantly. What I recommend is so simple and inexpensive, it seems unnecessary to put so much stress upon it. As you may know, I am a researcher in the electromagnetic energies of the body as the source of life. Although I study disease and disability, my primary emphasis is upon wellness or dynamic health. I have not personally researched the electrical and biochemical contributions of water, but I have been intellectually impressed with the role of water in physiology. However, until I met Batmanghelidj, I want to spell his names in case you want his books, Batmanghelidj, an MD, the world's research authority on water, at an international invitation water conference. I was not personally motivated to review my water maintenance habits. He and I immediately established a relationship, knowing that we will research together in the future. He gave me his new book, just off the press, You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty, a Warner Book 2003. I have read his other two books and thought this would be the same. Although the information is similar, the personal impact is far greater. He related hundreds of testimonials about how a regime to maintain water levels cured major diseases, disabilities, and are paramount in our society. Many of these testimonials were doctors' reports about themselves. Others were documented with long-term histories of medical and surgical treatments from world-famous clinics, institutes, and medical authorities. With water maintenance, all symptoms and disease disappeared. Although I am in my 88th year, I'm healthy, very energetic for my age. As I read, I surveyed my own medical history. The biochemical changes, symptoms enumerated in acute cases, I had had off and on in minor states. Situation was not perfect. I wondered if times of dehydration was the source. So 6 months ago, I carefully and meticulously started on a routine recommended by Batman, that's his nickname. The results have been profound. The minor aches, complaints of aging are gone. My physician, a homeopathic medical doctor, and my nutritionist, who use deep diagnostic tests, are thrilled. From my enthusiasm, all of my friends are on the water maintenance routine and call regularly about its great effects. None were seriously injured before, but now their level of wellness has expanded. Most of the following information comes from Dr. Batman's 3 books, with my added clinical findings. But because most of you will not have the time to read them, I have abstracted, consolidated, and clarified information to impact you now and get you moving. Follow me as I explore the facts. Most people interested in improving their health know that adequate water is a must. But most of us just drink when we're thirsty, and we really don't know how much water we consume. Yet research shows that most people are dehydrated throughout adult life, even as pre- and post-adolescence, and it gets worse with age. Our formal education about water was limited because in the last century, biology and medicine were concerned about detailed chemistry the minute fluctuations of solid matter of the body. Actually, the largest amount of the entire body is water, and without water's adequate supply, none of the intricate chemical reactions necessary for life can occur. Water is the body's solvent, which circulates to every cell, carrying all nutrients, oxygen, enzymes, and hormones, making possible every function. Furthermore, when water breaks up into oxygen and hydrogen, it releases electrical energy, which acts like an electrical nutrient. It is hydroelectric energy beyond metabolic energy. Different organs and systems have different water needs. Those with the highest priority for living have the greatest share of water. First, the brain and nervous system, next, the lungs and heart, next, the stomach and intestines, and last, the muscles, joints, and tendons. This is very important information to remember. Here are some of the major facts. While the body is entirely dependent on water for its complicated functions, it has never developed a water storage system like it stores fat. Water must be supplied to the body before its major needs. Second, we have a marvelous method of shunting water to where it is most needed, like opening and closing locks in a river flood control system. When organs and tissues become active, such as muscles in exercise or stomach after eating, the nervous system releases histamine, which compresses the water pathways in other parts of the body and dilates where needed. This works beautifully when the body has an adequate supply of water. But when it's dehydrated, first the muscles suffer with spasms and tension and neuritis. If there is still an inadequate water, the gastrointestinal suffers with poor digestion, belching, heartburn, and the intestines become clogged. We become constipated because the body tries to withdraw all of the water from the stool to preserve water. Next, with longer-term dehydration, the lungs and heart cells become water inadequate. Here the blood pressure goes up with increasing narrowing of the blood bed, and the lungs become inflamed, creating mucus to hold back the water. And last, when hydration is extensive and prolonged, the nervous system and brain cells can no longer function, causing such debilities as Bell's palsy, muscular and sensory disturbances, and paralysis from destruction of nerve and brain cells. For most adults, degrees of dehydration are everyday occurrences. Let's look at what happens in dehydration. Water is temporarily stored in two places. First, inside the cell, where it assists in the manufacture of enzymes and hormones, which create the chemicals for cell functioning. And secondarily, in a fluid pool outside the cells or in the lymphatic fluid, which oozes when you break your skin. When cells are called to do their specific work, for example, in muscles, stomach, lungs, or heart, they first use the water inside the cell. When this is used, they have a ready supply in the lymph fluid outside the cell, which rapidly enters the cell so it can continue normal work. If there is an inadequate cellular water, the body shuts down the water system somewhere else. If this lack of water continues, cells poison themselves, become toxic, sick, and eventually die. This is the real source of disease and disability. You ask, how much water do we need regularly each day, and when do we need it? Dr. Batman states, 54 cubic centimeters a day is minimal for adults, or half of the body weight in ounces. Water requirements for an average 128-pound adult would be 8 8-ounce glasses per day. This, of course, goes up with larger, young, active people. Not just the quantity, but it is important to take water before you need it, not just after you have exercised, perspired, or eaten. I have found with myself and others of my friends and clients that the pattern recommended by Dr. Batman is excellent. The formula is thus: take 16 ounces of water 30 minutes before each meal. This prepares the stomach and the intestines to efficiently release the chemicals for diagnosis and assimilation. Do not drink with the meal, which causes the food to be more dissolved but not digested. The water needs must come from the digestive cells and enzymes. Take 8 ounces of water mid-meals to keep up intercellular supply. Take 8 ounces of water before exercise or known stress routines, such as continuous long work, driving, writing, shopping. Drink when thirsty, but not at meal times. Many of us believe we take lots of water because we drink coffee, tea, juices, sodas, soft drinks, or even long alcoholic drinks. Research has shown that each of these fluids is concentrated and draws out of the body for digestion more water than it puts in. For every 8-ounce glass of these fluids, your body gets rid of 12 ounces of water to process it. These become habits when your body is thirsty. Drink a glass of water, and in a short time you will forget that you didn't have your stimulus shot. I believe that drinking these fluids in place of plain water is the source of our major dehydration problems in this culture. It seems that as we become adults, we lose the urge of thirst and either think we are hungry and eat or use tasty drinks that we enjoy more than water. This is where we start our downhill route to illness and medical complaints. We hear the publicity that this or that tea is good for us for its herbal value. Let me assure you that the good does not overcome the bad effects of hydration. And of course, the stronger the tea, the more disastrous. Concentrated juices like orange, citrus, and cranberry have the same dehydrating effects. If you insist on drinking orange juice rather than eating an orange, dilute it considerably. We have been told to eliminate salt from our diet to protect our vascular system. Actually, we're learning that this is incorrect. Salt is needed to hold intercellular water in place for the cell's stress needs. Batman recommends 1/2 teaspoon per day of salt when we eat natural, unsalted foods. Without salt, the water is not held in between cells. The prior rationale behind no salt was the belief that salt caused high blood pressure. Now we know that the lack of water causes the vascular system to tighten and put water under more pressure, so it will go rapidly to active areas. A decrease in extra salt may temporarily and slightly lower blood pressure, but it does not eliminate high blood pressure. Increased hydration cures most hypertensions. I ask, are you water deficient? Check these symptoms. Do you have fatigue in the morning, not after strenuous activity, or sleep disorders, with cravings of soda, alcohol, or sweets? Do you have constipation, allergies, hypertension, asthma, diabetes? Do you have pain in muscles and joints, back and neck, migraine headaches, fibromyalgia, colitis, heartburn, gas, neuritis, phlebitis, indigestion, or the complications of obesity, hemorrhoids, arterial disease, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and cancer. We adults who have good medical supervision and periodic laboratory tests hear doctors tell us about our chemical over or underproduction. Check these with what you know about yourself. These are made active or passive by the body's fluid system. These are the primary information systems created by special cells in the brain and major glands that keep the body alive and active. These electrical and chemical signals travel through the fluids and the field. Without adequate water, these cells cannot function effectively, the first signs of potential disease. Let me give you a brief of where these come from and their functions. We know them as products and hormones and enzymes and neurotransmitters. The hormones and enzymes are substances from specialized coils and cells of glands. Vasopressin comes from the pituitary, tightens the arteries and creates more pressure to move fluids. Cortisone comes from the adrenal glands, suppresses the immune system, but provides more chemical energy. Endorphins come from the brain and are the body's natural opiate to relieve pain and prepare the body for hardships. Then there's the whole section of neurotransmitters from brain and nerve cells. These are the master controllers of chemical and electrical information in order for cells to grow, to fight bacteria, and to conquer viruses. Some information is antihistamine. Histamine is the primary neurotransmitter that shunts water to most needed areas. It reacts to foreign protein like bug bites and shots, and it is a temporary substitute for dehydration. Serotonin is a master brain controller. You have asked me, what does water have to do with dysfunctional disease conditions? Batman and the many clinical testimonies insist water dehydration causes specialized cell function at the primary source of disease in this century. And if caught early enough with water maintenance programs, it can be reversed. With serious long-term dehydration, cells are destroyed, so chemical replacement is required. But let's be about the water replenishment now with fewer symptoms. At least we can minimize the destruction, if not eliminate it. Batman believes all health problems are water deficiencies. Take, for example, joint and muscular problems, which most of us have insidiously with age and inactivity, which may have started in earlier injuries. Special discs and joint cartilages repair slowly, but they will regrow with adequate water so that the joints can be held apart and move smoothly. The inflammatory condition produced by histamine slows tissue circulation. However, water is the best antihistamine available. The cells which replace these more dense tissue come from the bone marrow, where they contest for water with hemoglobin for the manufacture of blood cells. So that you can see that dehydration, bones, ligament, muscle, cartilage, and muscular tissue always suffer. Pain comes from tearing or chronic irritation of tissues, causing acidity, swelling in organs and muscles, which irritate nerve endings. Best antidote is to improve circulation to remove toxicity and bring endorphins to sedate the pain. Probably much of the relief that comes from taking an analgesic pill is from the water it takes to swallow and assimilate it. I find 1 or 2 glasses of water does the same thing. Try it without the pill. Acute, blinding headaches, beginning with throbbing arteries around the temples, are connected to the dilution of water in the facial muscles because the brain needs more water. Temporarily, increased circulation from massage, heat, chiropractic helps manage the pain, but only water provides the cure. Let us look at neurological problems that are also the result of chronic water loss. Neural cells are the most susceptible to water deficiencies, so it is the last tissue to suffer. When it does, there is serious dehydration, which eventually destroys cells and causes plaque. Remember, brain cells don't rest. They're always active. Then we come to gastrointestinal disturbances. Specialized cells secrete after eating to mechanically and chemically break up solid substances into molecules to be absorbed in the small intestine. Without adequate water, digestive symptoms of heartburn, belching, and dyspnea occur. Dehydration in the intestines shows motility to prevent water loss, and constipation results. These are major American complaints. Increasing the bulk in the diet with more fruits and vegetables helps, but adequate water is paramount. Let's look at the problems of diabetes, asthma, and allergies that are high on the list of American health problems. Diabetes, there are problems in the pancreas, which has two functions: insulin to transpose fatty acids, and the second one to maintain bicarbonate of soda to neutralize stomach acids in the intestines. Both type 1 childhood diabetes and type 2 adult form are complex neurotransmitter and hormone problems where the pancreas in childhood forms no more production of insulin, and in the adult form, it still has poor ability to produce insulin. Both are probably water-related because the inhibition of insulin is an adaptive process of the pancreas gland to dehydration. Batman has found that water and salt will reverse the beginning stages. Again, with acute childhood diabetes, water will help other bodily processes, but it will not reverse the destroyed pancreatic cells. Look at asthma and allergies. That are the result of the body's adaptive changes to protect an inadequate water supply. Here, the body produces more histamine to shunt the water supply to the most life-important areas. Normal breathing of air in and out causes water evaporation. But with increased histamine comes bronchial congestion to further slow down normal lung evaporation. In extreme dehydration, the formation of mucus congestion seriously slows water evaporation as well as the absorption of oxygen. With dehydration over time, lungs become less elastic, scarring delicate membranes, limiting oxygen absorption. Dr. Batman suggests that salt loosens mucus and decreases inflammation. You can expect all asthmatic-like difficulties, such as hay fever, bronchitis, and ordinary chest colds, can be improved with more water intake. Hypertension is again the body's adaptation to insufficient total fluid. It's like a body drought. Water shunting increases the pressure in arteries to supply the heart pump. Cholesterol deposits occur as a waterproofing bandage. The body's secretions to handle stress create temporary elevated blood pressure. But hydration makes it a permanent hypercondition. That is the first killer of American people. All hypertensions must establish a regular water maintenance program. Obesity, the last but not least, is the role of water in weight control. We all know that fat is stored when we eat more than our body needs, and that sweets, processed foods with oil and carbohydrates are causal. But why do we eat too much? Why are we always hungry? Because we mistake a need for water with a need for food. The best reducing diet is a permanent one, an increased water intake. Actually, the urge to eat weakens as one eats less and pounds fall off and stay off normally. Everyone I know who has started a water regime has lost body fat. Batman relates numerous obese people who have lost hundreds of pounds without surgery or body shock. As you lose weight and become more active, you will require more protein. I wonder if I've convinced everyone who hears this tape to immediately take note. Remember, it is the amount of water drunk, at least 8-ounce glasses, and the times you drink these, before increased water needs for digestion, exercise, stress, or long-term endurance, such as auto drives and airplane rides. If you try my suggestions, you'll be hooked for life. What's better? Excite your relatives and friends. It's the simplest and cheapest health plan possible.